Hello. Oh no. Chat, it's so over. I just looked at my Sando points, and from the last tournament I played last week, they dropped by 17 points. It's it's over. My funny internet points. My funny internet points are smaller. Where is... Okay, what do people run on S-Blast? QR, Sub-Saver, Quick Super Jump. Okay. Bro. One Bob, can you ban double click for that? I think it's deserved. Mm. Do I have any gear with like comeback? I guess I have this. Maybe I have different shoes as well. Yeah. Sure. I guess this works. No, I don't need point 2. Ink saver. Oh. Yeah, no. I guess we have to play this one. Oh dear. Oh, is that the rap tank challenge? Okay. Well, we'll play series. You see, I like Clam Blitz, and Clam Blitz is a great mode. But also one of those maps is Marlin. And, well, I mean, I guess it's fine. I guess it's fine, yeah. It's not too bad, and Umami is a really good Clams map. So maybe you're right, I should be happy. This rotation could be a lot worse. So like, that's not really saying much. Splatoon rotations can always be worse. Oh, it's Riddler. That's fun. Double roller stamper, okay. That's interesting. It's gonna be a pain to push into this comp. So I probably just mainly play around, like, baiting people into this weapon's range. Oh, that's the guy here. Unfortunate. Unfortunate. The C-Tech will not get a lot of value out of Gambit. Unless we get a pick now. Which we do, that's nice. Oops. Yeah. Could always be mincemeat eel tail. Nice. Not happening. Oh, this weapon feels so good. That's weird. Where'd the roller go? Oh, into our base, okay. Oof, okay, yeah. I'm glad I got the trade there, because that was a bit of an awkward situation. We keep kind of like not looking at the left side of the map, so I'll put a bit more focus on that. I think we have right under control. Yeah, let's just go with the Booyah. Well, that's unfortunate. No, they did the Booyah attack. No! No! That's tragic. It's so fucked up that that is in the game. Like, what? It's really funny, don't get me wrong. But it is also fucked up. Oh, that one. Unfortunate. Oh. Good job on them, like, pushing over the grades. Didn't see that coming. I think we lose here. They scored a lot of power camps. And we do not have this under control. I mean, I guess they didn't get there in time. Okay, sure. Unfortunate. Good trade by the Viper. There's a guy over there. Left is relatively... Never mind, it's not clear. Ah, unfortunate. Should have respected that sword now. That's GG. Yeah. I should have hit the direct, I guess. My bad, chat. Should have played better. I mean, that is the correct answer. Hyperion. We'll get into coaching in like 40 minutes, just like at the hour. Just kind of chilling. Chilling beforehand. Wow. Log it. Wait, who is this? Oh, I couldn't check. Who is that? It didn't look like Mr. X73. Sounds like a name that he would take, but it didn't look like it. I guess I'll find out after this game. Pencil wiper, charger, triple shooter. Interesting. Okay, I should be able to like fight the shooter as well. 52 is a bit annoying with the wall, but the rest of the shooters I should have it. Like if I position well, a good matchup into. I'll just... Oh, good peek by the charger. Didn't see that coming. We need to watch out for that momentum here. Like, we are very staggered, we're gonna need to play live. Like, I won't be able to... Ooh, this is scary. Nice. We can move up quite fast here. And take the spinner. Nice. 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 Get their ass. Nice. I can shark here. Don't think they saw me. Yep. Yep. And I have Booyah to stay alive. That is slightly silly. Well, they're gonna leave, sure. They're no base, but like, we just win, no? Oh, okay. I think it would have been better to just continue looking forward. Because, like, we could have kept up the basket and probably just won. If we just continued looking forward here. Ah, unfortunately, didn't get the second hit in. We got it anyway, though. So watch out for my ink here. Scary. Gonna stay here until people push me, because this ledge is really strong, and then I'm just gonna Booyah. What are you gonna do? No, no! Nice, okay. Yeah, that game felt good just because I have a positive matchup into most of those weapons. There's just not much that those weapons can do against an S-Blast. And they didn't, like, particularly play well against it as well. Ooh, oh dear. Oh dear. Actually, I should prepare a blue sky post. So that for once I don't forget to post about it before before the stream, and then have to do post after. Instead do one so that people who see it can actually watch it. That sounds like an amazing idea. Wait, this is number 3, right? Yeah, I think this is Coaching Monday number 3. Or is it 4? I think it's 4 actually, oh dear. Okay. Sure. We can play with this. That was not a great opening. Unfortunate. Should have predicted them to go left instead of going behind cover. Because, like, Octobrush players tend to play more aggressively. I'm so dead, yeah. Good job on them, like, throwing the strikes in a way that it catches jump-ins. That is a very smart thing to do. Maybe I shouldn't do this. I shouldn't have done this, yeah. That was really bad because, like, our respawns are very staggered, and I didn't have anyone behind me. So I just kind of ran into a 1v4. Ui. My back, oh my goodness. With mowing tank I could have gotten any of those. Hi there. Oh, dang! Dang. Didn't expect that to happen. Thought I'd survive with the booyah. Doing a good... yeah. I tried to get in, like, to keep my tank a bit more, because I think that's the main thing that's going wrong right now. There's a Brella here again. Damn. Okay. I need to watch out for the Brella more. They're taking really good angles. That's a weird push. I got... damn. I shouldn't have jumped. We were so far forward that I thought we like that good. But it, like, we were just overextended, so it wasn't safe. Okay. I didn't mean to drop there, that was a bit unfortunate. Yeah, real. This Brella is reading the heck out of me. Not push that. Okay, sure. That works. Oh, that's the pen. I thought that was the Brella. I need to back up a bit here. Nice. Whoa! This Brella again! Oh my goodness. They are so fucking good, what? They're still on left now. Oh, they backed up a bit. Sure. Yeah. That makes sense. Well, I mean, sure. We'll try. Maybe we're too late, actually. Okay, we have barely made it. No. Whoa! They're so fucking good. They're like not looking back though, so maybe we can keep this open. Yeah, no, okay. But we did force them back, I think. Now I can go into the funny spot again. Okay. Maybe I should try play a bit safer. At least for the rest of the game that we have. Well, yeah. Can stay here. We have to go fast though. I don't think, yeah, I didn't have time for that booyah. It is good for Brenner, but like they just played really, really well. Like I guess the map kind of played a part in it, but like this weapon should have like a decent matchup into Brenner. Because like you can shoot behind it with like both modes. I guess with the short range mode it's a bit more difficult, but like still. And they still managed to outplay me constantly. So they just like flat out played better. They are the better player. Recycle Brilla is a really fun weapon. I played it a bit like a week ago or something, and it's so fun. To be fair, a lot of weapons in this game are very fun, but it is, yeah. It just feels good to use, and especially with the like splashdown kit. Splashdown also feels really good to use. And that just adds up. Oh, Squeezer. Yeah, I should have respected Squeezer. Thought I could contest it a bit more safely. But Squeezer just beams you. Yeah, no. Oh, we have too many people left to get out of here. Nope, nope, nope. I'm out. I am close to Booyah, but I think we'll be able to do this defense without Booyah, actually. Wait, can we get them? Okay. I don't quite know where enemies are. Okay, we found the Squeezer. Nice. I'll just Booyah here. Maybe I shouldn't have the 3 whales on me. Oh, there's one bottom. Oof. RNG is on my side there. Nice, they made a PC. Nice. I'm just gonna quick score as well. could have kept like my clamps there. But I think it was the better choice too. Oof! The Rex feels so nice. No. Nice. Oh yeah, they buffed the ink efficiency, right. I forgot about that, to be honest. I haven't been following the weapon too much because, like, you know, I haven't cared about it. But yeah, that's... They buffed the paint as well, right? Yeah, because the paint used to be god-awful on, like, the main weapon. Yeah. I'm really glad that they, like, actually decided to buff that weapon. Because it deserves it, it's really cool. Same with Espers, to be honest. Aww. I wanted to cook. Do they know? Do they know? Wow, Zuka. This is scary. What if I just solve this? Oh, unfortunate. I almost got the shot up there. Yeah. I mean, all Brellas still deserve buffs. But at least they're fun to play now. Like, most of them are still bad. Like, competitively. They are 1 HP, yeah. But, like, they are... Most of them are, like, fun now. So even if they're, like... No one would pick them competitively, it's still, like... They're fun to play if you play solo. Oh, that's a risky one. Whoa, what are you doing? Why is it working? Okay. I should make a PC, probably. Don't want to run around with 7 clamps. Oh, unfortunate. I'm not sure if, like, Recycle Brella needs shield HP buff. I mean, kind of. It's, like, the weapon identity is really weird. But, like, with how many shields it gets, I think, like, if it had significantly more shield HP, it'd get really annoying. But, like... It's... I don't think that's the path to making it better, basically. I think the kind of, like, paint and ink efficiency buffs that they did are a lot more healthy. Oh, that's a teammate. Thought that was an enemy. Because, like, it gets out so many fields. Like, it gets a, like, field every, like, 4 seconds or something. That's a bit ridiculous. But, like, the field doesn't have any HP, and that's fine. And I don't, like, particularly hate that. It's kind of just the weapon's identity is that it has good damage but a bad field. And ideally, like the normal Brella would have good damage and a good field. Because it has a very good field, but it doesn't have fucking damage. And it's unfortunate that they don't want to yeah, the field stun I get. Yeah. That's true. That is true. That part is very annoying. And like it shouldn't be there for a weapon that like is built on losing its shield every 2 seconds. Because that's basically what it should be. Just a field that's like that's supposed to be gone as soon as people touch it. Coaching is in like 20 minutes. Yeah. And lag is really annoying. Maybe I'll play a few games of Trello. Whoa, that is double roller, double dualies. Okay. They have Gambit. Let's see where they are on opening and see if we can stall that out. They are over here. They are over there now. And they're running in and they got a pick. We're not stalling this out. They're gonna be on this wall. They didn't see me with the missiles. So I can kind of continue to shark here. Unfortunate. And the carbon's down here. Oh, that's rough. That's really bad. Still a trap here. Okay. Okay, the rest is in the base. Okay, good. I was a bit scared because I didn't know. You drop. Okay, sure. We fight you then. Never mind. I really want to booyah them. Ah, good job on the carbon. It's unfortunate that we aren't keeping paint against them. Because that would make, like, a lot of their comp a lot more difficult. But I guess it's not the easiest thing to do. Get their ass. Nice. Good job by the stamper. Is there someone on the right? I don't think so. Nice. Good job. Unfortunate. Can we score this? I don't think we can. Doesn't seem very realistic. I shouldn't have jumped, by the way. That's very silly of me. I feel like my roller needs help here. Oh, I think so. They're gonna climb the wall again. Whoa! There was a bomb there, wasn't there? Unfortunate. I don't know how that got there, but it works, I guess. Oh, Lola. No, it didn't direct. That's unfortunate. Okay. This game is proving to be difficult so far. Just, okay. Damn. I think I need to care a bit more for the rollers just running in. Because I think that's how I've been mostly dying. It's just to the rollers running forward. Yep, there we are. Need to not get into more of those situations. Would like to just hold this, but I know that the roller's sharking somewhere here. Like, of course they are. Yeah, they're under the ledge. Nice, yeah. That's a huge booyah. Both of you drop. Yes, huge, okay. Nice, good job by the dualies. I thought I could do funny shenanigans there, but they knew I was sharking. Nice. That was clean. Yeah, I'm just not gonna care. Well, I guess we have to. Whoa! That was clean. Can't even lie. The nice thing of them all having power clamps is that I know really well when they're climbing the wall. Okay, that was a bit too funny. This might actually go to overtime. Yeah, they can score here. They didn't though. Well, they did now. I don't think there's anyone here. Nice. Cool. Well, okay. Dropped my controller. Okay. Da, da, da. It fucking dropped my controller again. Holy shit. It's working fine though. I'm just gonna hold this mid. Very scary. Lots of explosions. That still did 60 damage to me. Hammer is not a real special. Or like, it is way too real, I guess I should say. Oh, that's weird. Wanna I fight them? I guess it's a brush, they are annoying. Nice, good job. Burst bomb to kill an object. This is revolutionary. Okay, so the brush just likes to run around. That's good to know. I meant to substrafe. Unfortunate. I'm way too used to like shooters where main strafing and substrafing is basically the same. It's unfortunate. Yeah, just all well on me. I'll keep them over here. Why me? I guess no one in this comp really wants it. But not me. I'm just gonna hold this until someone wants to push. Yeah. Yeah, easy. I'm getting these clamps actually. I didn't mean to keep those. I'm gonna try to stall them a bit until we have other people who can score. Yeah, now we just score. Ooh, hammer. They probably know I'm somewhere here. Yeah, they know. If I can just stay alive a bit longer, I can do it. Yeah, let's go. This Nova does not want to contest my Booyah. Nice. Yeah, at this point I'm probably dead, but I'm gonna stay here for a bit longer. Yeah. I stalled for a lot of time there. This shot is like... They are playing the game. I'm just gonna stay here. Ah! And now I'm gonna dip. Amazing gameplay. Whoa. You're climbing. If this guy gets one more climb, we just win. Or we just win like this. That works as well. Nice. Good job by the mini. Can we keep? Yes. Just need one more. Ah. Can we? Nice. Good job. Really good job. We can do one more game, I think. I hope at least. Hope we're getting it kinda fast. Okay. Let's hope this game ends relatively quickly so I have a bit of time to set up the coaching session. Double Junior Sorella Brella, dang. And both juniors are double bomb. Okay, one of them is... Okay. The thing is you can't throw two torpedoes behind each other. So that's a bit unfortunate for them. Like you have to wait for the torpedo to like explode first. Yo. Okay. The top actually killed me there, dang. That's unfortunate. I wanted to shoot it, but I didn't manage to. Trade that, okay, sure. Think I can try to hold this? Well, they crap, okay. They aren't really looking at me, so I think I can hold this anyway. We can really push with that, that's unfortunate. Nice. Nice. Oh, that's it. This weapon is so bad. I didn't even know they were there for half the engagement and I still win. Oh no. We just need one more. Yeah, we win. Good, okay. Poor Brella. I feel so bad for them. Like, genuinely. Okay. Let's set up the things. Or two. Yeah. Yeah. Bula with it would have at least been somewhat funny. Still wouldn't have been good, but like the assist would have been nice for it. I'm a big, like, enjoyer of Screen. I think Screen is a really cool special. Like, apart from the, like, availability. No, like, audio issues with it. Like, apart from that, it's, like, from the designer, a really good special. But, it's unfortunate. Like, in the state that it is. And especially for Brella, like, oof, doesn't really work that well with it. I mean, like, Torp is a nice combination for it. Because it combos, at least after they buffed it. It only did 30 damage on launch. Like, this is still difficult for me to imagine that it only did 30 damage. Like, 40 also isn't much, but it's way better than 30. Okay. Hopefully this works. Yes. Amazing. Okay. Whoa, frame drops. Okay. Are the frames like really low on stream as well? It looks fine. I hope it's fine. The stream should have no frame drops, but I'm not sure if my compiler like has frame drops. Okay. So we have this one. And then these ones right here. Okay. Twitch is good. That's good to hear. Okay, let's get them in here. Hello there.
Hello.
Welcome to stream. How are you doing?
How are you?
Huge, okay. Okay. Let's take a look. So we have some S-Blast games. For the Discord stream, you'll have to mute it, otherwise there's like double audio. Perfect. Okay. I still have to figure out a solution for that. Okay. Yeah, which of these do you want to look at first?
Maybe the one in X first.
Okay. We have two,
No.
so I'm just gonna...
You can do that, I don't care.
Okay, we can start with this one. It's Splat Sounds. Okay. So you said you want to improve on positioning a bit, right?
Yeah, I think. My aim is good, my call are good too, but it's really positioning. I take fight that don't need to take.
Mm-hmm.
And so I
Okay.
got killed.
Yes.
Speedily.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So we kind of want to work on that. That sounds good. 1 second. I have to make the audio a bit more quiet on my end, because the game audio is way too loud for me. Okay. Let's do a short comp analysis. We'll keep this very short, but just kind of looking at your comp and looking at the enemy's comp. Are there like any things you notice?
I can take the Idris. There is 2 weapons that have more range than me.
Mm-hmm.
I can take the Dual Squelcher and the Clash Blaster. But the Forge and the Idris, that they have too much distance.
Yes. For sure. Especially the Hydra, you have to watch out for to like not be in open space against them, because they will just beam you. For Julie Squelchers, it's a bit weird because they do have a lot of range as well. But the nice thing for them is like if you get in range, then it's a really consistent hit. Where usually they'd expect that they can dodge around with their dodge rolls and stay alive for a bit. Your weapon is really consistent at hitting them, and that makes it really nice. And then Clash Blast, that's just Clash Blast. Yeah. Your comp is like, it has 2 Splatlings, and that means that it's gonna be a bit slow. So you might not have the kind of follow-up that you'd usually expect if you play like games. The only weapon that can really follow up on you is like the T-Tech and maybe the edit if it has cooler. So that's just something to watch out for here. Okay. I don't hate this opening. Our team mostly takes care of everything, but like we were in a good position to follow up on any fights should we want to. Okay. I really like that you look back here.
Okay.
That's really nice, because if we look at this from like overhead view and we think about like where fights are happening, overhead view is bugged again, but there is a player here. We just can't see their name for some reason. Because like if we look at this, what we really want in this situation is we want to like mostly control all of mid. That's always the thing that's most important, is to have mid control. And the only thing that's really stopping that right now is like this player right here. That's kind of in a really annoying position. And specifically, if we push them from this angle, the nice thing about that is that we have like a teammate that can follow up with us on a very different angle, or like you follow up on the fight that the teammate is fighting. And it's very difficult for them to fight both of you if you like approach them from like these very different angles. So that's kind of the first thing that we'll see about like advantageous fights is that taking things from different angles is really good. And that's kind of what a lot of positioning comes down to, is trying to be in positions where we can follow up with our team in such a way that we make these kind of fights that are really nice for us, that are really advantageous for us, that we are really likely to win. And like even if we mechanically mess up, then we still get a trade out of that because our teammate is there to follow up. Yeah, so that's kind of a lot of the idea we'll see there, I think. Yeah. Okay. Oh, interesting. I'm curious if we can look at it again. I'm curious if you have any thoughts on like what happened there, or what you could have done better.
Well, I think I tried to kill two people at the same time. I should focus on one first and kill the one next.
Yeah.
I saw the clash, then I tried to get the squelcher. Is it Ford or no, it's squelcher? I tried to get him. I should focus on the clash first, and after kill the squelcher.
Yes, that's one part. For sure, like we should do one enemy at a time. Because that way it's way more likely that we trade, or like yeah, pretty much just that. I think the main like thing that I see here is that we are really, really close to the enemy. When like our weapon's effective range would be a bit further. So we are holding an S plus, right?
Yes.
And like what kind of like ranges is S plus really good at?
A long range, but mid long range. It's very good range. It's like, isn't the longest aggro weapon? There's squelcher too. Is squelcher longer than Blast? I don't think so.
I'd say it's pretty much around the same. I think with fall off, Squelcher has like maybe a bit more. But yeah, the long range, that's the fun thing about S Blast, is that it has a short range and a long range mode. And the long range mode is really good at like hitting people who are like surprisingly far away. Like you could hit probably like around here, people who are like standing around here or something with the long range mode. But the thing that it's really, really reliable at is short range mode. So there's kind of two spheres, like two kind of range differences where the weapon is really strong. Wait, let's remember where we're at. Like 435. I'm gonna go into the training room real quick and to explain this a bit better. Because we have kind of like, if we just think about positioning in terms of how far we are away from enemies, which is like not the only thing, but it's a very like important part of positioning. The positions that this weapon is really good at is like right here, where we can like either direct or like indirect burst bomb, stuff like that. So like the range where like the long range mode hits, or like the range where we reliably hit the short range mode. So like somewhere around this, and the short range mode has a really big hitbox. So like that's quite a big area where we can be. But the important part is that we aren't too close to enemies, because at that point it actually kind of gets a bit difficult to hit the mode. Because like there's a bit of like dead space right here, you see. To hit this, you'd basically have to hit a direct, or like burst bomb the floor or something like that. And that can happen, and that's the thing to do if you end up in a like situation like this. It's either go for like a really clutch direct, or like burst bomb and then hope that afterwards you get into a range where you hit your short range mode a bit more effectively. But ultimately, in these kind of fights, we want to stay in a range where we can like reliably hit this. And that makes fights a lot easier. And that's ultimately what I think wasn't done perfectly here. Now I need to find it again. In that we got like really close to the enemy. And that's something where we want to watch a bit out for. To stay in ranges where it's a bit easier to hit, basically. because that's ultimately what we're always trying to do, is just kind of make the situation as easy as possible for us. There's like it's not that doesn't apply perfectly, but like there's a saying where good players win 1v1s and better players win 2v1s, and that better players can set up a situation where the fight is a lot easier for them. And 2v1s are like a part of that. 2v1s are basically the like advantage that's most important in fights, but like another part of that would just be like positioning well for your weapon and stuff like that. So yeah, what happened right here, we can kind of see it, is I think we missed both shots onto the Clash Blaster. Maybe the first one was aimed at someone else. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it was for the
Yeah. Yeah. So we end up not hitting them because we were like a bit too close to them, basically.
Yes.
So that's something we want to look at when we look at positioning. Nice, that's a really clean direct. Nice, good job. I like this a lot. Yeah, I like this play right, or like the sequence of plays here a lot. Just like mechanically, but also in terms of positioning, because this position right here, or like just top mid in general, is really nice. In that like it's a really important position, and from here you can look at all these fights down here.
The 2-zone, and I can take all of them mid.
Yes. Like you can help with this fight, and you can help with the fight before. It's just really nice. So I like a lot that you took top mid and played around that here. Nice, okay. Okay. I'd encourage to collect Gula in situations like this, because Gula is a strong special.
Yes. I didn't say it, I think.
Yeah, that happens. Okay. This is like somewhat related to positioning, in that I think this play is a bit aggressive. Or like putting ourselves into a situation where we don't really want to be. We can look at this from like the top-down perspective and kind of see where this comes from. In that like right here you have like these weapons looking at you. I like the idea. Like we just got a wipeout, and if we want to take a lot of space, we want to take this if possible. I think the execution was a bit too slow, because like if this was faster, then we probably would have survived. So yeah, I think that's mostly just a thing of execution.
Yeah, I recapped the zone first. I shouldn't recap it and just went for the top.
Nice, okay. Okay, that's a... interesting. I'm wondering if this would have been better if we took top mid. Maybe. I think top mid would have been a bit safer. Because like you have high ground against like all these weapons that can't really shoot you. So basically the lesson is that top mid is really strong on this map. It's honestly like a relatively small thing in this situation. Because like this isn't painted either. Like none of this is really painted. So it's difficult like for you to move through any of the space. But this would have been like slightly safer. Honestly, paint is a good thing to bring up. In that we want to look at areas of the map that are in our color of paint if possible, and we want to fight there. As like a weapon that paints more, so like maybe the shot right here, or like headed or something, that would be their responsibility to actually paint the map. As an S-Blast, it's more so that you just kind of utilize the map that is on the paint that is on the map.
I think I try too much to paint, but I should let my team do it.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like if no one else is doing it, or like if you're the only one alive, or if there's a situation where your team really needs paint, then like you should do it regardless of what weapon you're playing. Even if you're like playing the worst weapon at painting ever, there are some situations where you just have to paint the map because like the team is dead or the team isn't doing it or whatever. But mostly the like normal idea should be that we're looking at situations where like the rest of the team is painting and you try to just use the paint that's on the map. Sometimes you can do a bit of stuff with burst bomb, but that's mostly for like your own movement. So yeah, it's not really like your job as an S blast. Yeah, okay. Okay. Hmm. Okay. I'm curious what like you think about this situation.
I think I should have gone right.
Mm-hmm.
There was it it was Forge, I think. I hit with the burst, and I should.
Yeah,
I
that's
should
the
hit
square
him.
chest, yes. Mm-hmm.
Let's go. Okay. I hit him. I should. I think I should hit the not the direct the air jump next to the box, so I can hit him behind.
Yes. I agree. That would be really nice if we could follow up on the burst bomb right here. Because they'd probably die. Maybe not because it's not the most consistent thing, but they'd at least be really, really low.
But
So
this
I
moment,
definitely agree.
I
Go
think I
ahead.
saw the Hydra in mid, and I wanted to kill him, but I didn't see the clash, and got me
Yeah,
prioritization.
okay. Um, that makes a lot of sense. So we kind of just do, okay. And then we switch targets onto the onto the clash. Interesting. I think we need to be aware, like in situations like this, we should kind of respect the map control that the enemy has.
Mm.
In that a lot of these weapons have good range into you, or like at least they have high ground, which means they can like back up very safely. They have a good amount of paint in this situation. All that kind of stuff that's really common if you try to like retake map control. So like a really standard situation in zones basically,
Yeah.
where the enemy has more paint, they have better positions, and in this case they also outrange you because like this weapon kind of outranges you. This weapon definitely does. I think for those situations we need to like recognize them and play a bit more carefully here. In that like with playing carefully, I mean with like playing around cover a bit more, playing around the paint that you have a bit more, and just trying to take things a little more slowly to give time for your team to come back and fully mobilize again. So what would have been nice, I think, is to just kind of stay behind the cover right here and try to see if you can do anything from there, or to like kind of use this paint, something like this, because like you do have a lot of paint over here that you could use to get into like a really different position. And that may be an idea. It's very risky. Like pulling off flanks like this would be very risky, and it's not something that everyone does, and that's fine. But it is an idea.
I think the clash will saw me now.
Yeah, probably. And that's what makes it risky. Pretty much, yeah. Clash is a weapon that like doesn't have the greatest kill time, so you could maybe get away with it. But that is a good point. Mhm. And they have Booyah as well, so yeah, that would have probably been a bad idea. Yeah, so basically I think in situations like this, we need to be aware of like where the enemies are a bit more and kind of respect that. Especially on this map, like you kind of need to respect if enemies have top mid and respect that they're like gonna fire at you from there and play around like every kind of cover that you have. So like behind this piece of like behind this block, you're really safe right now. Um, or like we could play around here as well when we can't see the pen. If it's black on like black, like this would be a bit of cover as well. Stuff like this where we can kind of stay a bit more safe.
Yeah, so
Like as a team, we do get a trade here, so it's not the worst situation. Well, okay, it kind of is because the enemy still has control. Okay. Just as a like short kind of exercise, where do you think we should look at going in like in a wipeout situation like this?
to the top, I think.
As in like this area? Or
No,
do
no,
you mean like
the
this one?
yeah, this one,
This
the
one,
bunker.
yes. Okay. That's true. If we can keep control, that is. Because what's gonna happen right here is that the enemy can like run in here and take this space. And we need to make sure that we either stop them from doing that or we like wait for our team to then stop that together with the team. Usually the safer play would be to wait for the team. And that's usually what like retaking is about. It's just kind of staying safe until everyone on the team is back and then hopefully using specials to get back in. On this map it's a bit weird where like sometimes you can just stop people from moving through this choke point alone. And we can see if that happens here. Kind of. Yeah. We almost get it, to be fair. That's something that like you can sometimes do on this map, is just call out people who are going through this like small choke point and just punish them for that. Usually the safer thing is to wait for the team. And I think in this situation, another thing that contributes is again the paint.
Okay.
Because if we go back into this, we can kind of see that we, as a team, we haven't painted this at all. Like this is enemy paint, and all of this is just not painted at all. And paint really is important. It's sometimes it's like you don't realize it as much because it's a bit in some ways it's a bit like hidden what kind of like crazy power it has. And in some cases you notice it a lot because like just moving around in fights is a lot easier if you have paint. And that's something that especially like weapons like S-Blast, like slow weapons feel a lot. Where if they don't have paint, it's like so much slower to move, right?
Okay.
Um, and I think that's something that contributed here. Because if we had this painted, then I could honestly see us like trying to take this fight and like getting away with it. But just because like none of this is painted and like the enemy has a good amount of paint here, that makes it a lot more scary. And I think that's a big reason of why we eventually go down here. Okay, we have to watch out here for staggering. Do you know what staggering is, or like the feed stagger loop?
No.
Okay. We'll go over it quickly because it's not the main point, but it's also really important. So I do want to mention it. The feed stagger loop is something that happens a lot on zones specifically, but also on something like tower, honestly in every mode. And it's basically kind of the reason behind like knockouts like this happening, where we like go from 100 to 0 in one go.
Okay, good. Yeah, I know what's feed, but I didn't know what the term stagger.
Okay, yeah. Stagger basically comes down to like going in after each other.
It's snowball.
What do you mean with that?
It's a term we use. It's normal.
Yeah. So basically what we'll see happen here is like one person takes the fight, they go down because they took this fight alone and like in a very difficult situation for them to win the fight in. And then the next person goes in and dies trying to take a fight. And the next person goes in trying to take a fight. And all of these fights are very disadvantageous and just lead to you losing basically. And that makes it really difficult to actually retake. So just real quick, that's what that is. You want to to avoid this. The idea is to stay safe, to position a lot more safely. So instead of trying to take aggressive fights like this, we'll try to take high ground, just wait for our team to be back. And then as soon as our team is back, we can try to find good fights. Because we can't really take good fights if we are constantly in a -1 or -2 situation. That's just basically impossible because the enemies have more people, and that just makes most of their fights a lot better for them. So what the best thing to do in that situation is just wait for our team, wait for everyone to respawn, hopefully paint the map, get specials in the meantime, and then we have an opportunity to go in with those specials.
Okay.
This is a really, really bad example of this, in that bad in the sense of it happens a lot here, where we go from a 100 to KO in one go. Usually it's a bit more subtle than this, but it is a really big thing that contributes to a lot of this, and basically to us losing this game, is that everyone just kind of tries to take fights alone. Yeah. So basically, what this comes down to is in disadvantage, try to take high ground, try to stay alive, and try to get your special.
Okay. I see.
Yeah, this is good. This is not anymore, but these plays are really good. You see these kind of small opportunities to take fights, and I you follow up on them very cleanly, so that's really good. And you, in this case, you take them with your teammate as well, right? And that's what makes it so much nicer, is that the Hydra already fired at this, so the burst bomb kills directly. And then kind of, I mean, I guess this fight is mostly just you on your own, but kind of similar thing applies here. And then this is a fight you take with your teammate. I don't think anything comes of it, but we could have, if this just went a bit differently, we could have likely got the person right here. So this is exactly what we want to do in those situations, is to take fights with our teammates, and see what we can do with that.
Okay.
I think this is a bit too late at this point, where we can't really do anything anymore. But yeah, that's the important things here. Okay. So just as a short recap, just because otherwise I myself might forget later. What we talked about is first playing your weapon's range. That's kind of the first part of positioning. Well, I can't write. I hope this is readable, by the way. It's kind of difficult. I'll make the font the thing a bit bigger. Hopefully it's nicer now. So yeah, just kind of playing your range. We'll maybe see a bit more of this later. Playing your range, playing with your ink that you have on the ground, because that makes fights a lot easier. And then we saw a bit of like high ground slash in the sense that like we took top mid and that allowed us to take a lot of like other fights really cleanly and really easily. So that's something that high ground is usually very nice at, is that it like gives you a lot of opportunities to take like a lot of fights on different parts of the map. I'll add like high ground or just the middle of the map, because the middle of the map usually does the same thing. And in this case, like the middle of the map is high ground, so it actually does both. And that's what's like so strong about this like top mid on this map.
Okay.
And then specifically in disadvantage is so like when we try to take back control, disadvantage. I think I wrote this incorrectly, but I won't bother. Advantage. I think this it's still okay. Is the most important thing there is just to stay safe if we can, and kind of try to find safe fights that we can take, like areas that we can contest, while still just making sure that we don't take like huge risks, because that leads to things like this happening where we just like lose the entire game in one go. That's difficult to coordinate, like especially that last part is really difficult to coordinate in something like solo queue. But it's something that like at least somehow you'll have to do. Okay. That's for a short recap. Okay. Do you want to look at the other like zones game or something else?
Yeah, I think the other zone is great too.
Okay. Do you have like any questions about what we talked about so far?
No, I don't think so. Maybe
Okay.
later.
Okay. Yes. Okay. Nice. Okay. I like this opening a lot. Just dropping
Yeah.
right on this map is really nice for this weapon. And that
What
kind
are
of
other...
go ahead.
No, go.
Okay. That kind of brings us into another like situation of like positioning that like where your a position where your weapon is really strong, and that is like under these kinds of ledges. Under like any kind of ledge that is like this tall. I mean, under, and to be honest, under like any kind of ledge. But these
Like,
ledges are really like nice specifically.
as I see, where I can hit my air jump.
Yeah.
I like this opening because I always get a kill when I drop there, and maybe a second one.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but always.
It's just a really good position. Because like a lot of people don't respect this, that like a weapon on this position is really threatening to people over here. And if you can kind of clear out anyone who comes from here, or like if no one in the first place kind of tries to push you from that angle, then you have like a really nice off angle onto zone. You can kind of see this really nice from like the top-down view, right? Like most people would expect you to come from these kind of angles if you want to look at zone, or like where enemies are at, and then just a random flank comes in from this side. That's what's like really cool about this map, is that this flank puts you in like such a different position than every like other drop on this map. So like I really like this drop on this map. I tend to take it a lot. And it's really strong. Oh, wrong person. Yeah, you can kind of just try to stall this here, that's fine.
I should have TP there, I think.
Yeah.
One of my mates.
That definitely would have been an idea. You could also just stay here. That would be another idea, where like, sure, jumping to a teammate would be fine. Like that's a really good play. And like, yeah, we can do that. we could also just be really annoying and stay here. Because like specifically under this ledge, people will have really big difficulties approaching you from here because you'll just kind of camp under the ledge and like fire at them with like your jump shots. And like, how are they gonna approach you? Like take this off angle? That will take them like a fucking year and a half. And then maybe they can like go on the grades here, but even then, like that's really obvious. And then the other way people can approach you is here, and that is a bit more risky. Like for you, that's something where the fight can get difficult really fast. But it's also something where like the enemy actively has to look back. They have to look away from zone. If they like try to fight you over here, then like their back is turned to the zone, and the zone is what they want to look at because we want to paint, or like the enemy team wants to paint the zone and like have control of it. And if like we just stall over here, then the enemy is just like really annoyed because they're gonna have to look at an area of the map that they really don't want to look at.
Okay.
So yeah, that's why I think like staying here is a really funny idea. Jumping out like totally works as well. I think the kind of middle ground of like pushing this is a bit more dangerous though, which I think is why we get punished for it. Nice, good job. Good job on punishing them. I think we just didn't see the charger. What's really, like, what we can do on this map is, like, chargers have a lot of sidelines if they're, like, standing somewhere on this plat. What we can do is just kind of stay on the other side of them and, like, stay behind the, like, spinner on mid.
Usually I stay under the ledge. And
So, like, somewhere here.
Yes, and when they try to rotate
Yes.
to the green thing to the right, I get
So,
them.
like, around here. Yeah, for sure. That's really good. And again, that's, like, a position where your weapon is really strong and where you can, like, punish people if they don't respect that. So really, really good there. In some situations you like can't get this far, because like you're still just trying to figure out like how do I drop from here, and then like sometimes there you just kind of have to like stay in mid. Kind of you can play behind this where like the charger can't see you. You can just kind of try to stay on the other side of the charger. So if the charger is like positioned here, then you can try to play on this part of the map, and like if they're here, you can try to play around here. To just kind of approach them and get under these kind of like really funny ledge positions.
Okay.
Stuff like that. Okay. Yes. 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 Big yes. We trade, but like, this drop is just nice. It's just really good. And like we get a clean pick here. Then, yeah, we get directed by that. Or maybe it's a combo with the wave breaker. I'm not sure. It's a bit silly. But yeah, like the play was good. I like that we're dropping on right here. We could maybe even do it again. Okay. Thing on left works as well. Ah, that's scary. Yeah. That's mostly just a mechanical thing. These kind of fights can be very scary if you don't like hit these first 2 shots. That's kind of what normally would happen. And after that it's like really, oh god, scramble situation.
Yes.
I think the most consistent thing would be to like try to stay in your consistent range. Try to stay in the range where your indirect hits. And then kind of try to go from there. That's something that they do really well. Like this edit does really well right here. Is that like for the first shot they kind of stay outside your indirect range, and then for the second shot they run in and get really, really close to you. So props to them, to be honest.
Yes, I feel I should have hit with a burst, but I don't know if I have enough ink.
Yeah. That's, yeah, probably not. I'll try to take it again here. Yeah, sure. I don't hate the Booyah here. We actually get punished for it, which is crazy. Oh, the sword was looking. That's unfortunate. Do we drop right? Ah, we are marked. Yeah. Okay. I like the decision to not drop right after we got marked. Because dropping right basically doesn't work if you if people know exactly where you are. It's such an obvious drop if if you're marked or like if people know that you're taking it. And so like it's really easy to punish you for that. So like really good decision to like not commit to that. That's really good.
Okay.
This is interesting. Sure, yeah, nice. That's really fun. Yeah, I like that we just kind of ran through.
I like this. I just ran on mid, nobody's there, and I took the
Yes,
spawn.
yeah,
It's funny. But
that's
I
really
didn't
cool.
know.
Because like
But I
they aren't
dropped.
looking at you at all.
Yeah, I dropped right. I don't know why. I think I should have
Mm,
kept
yeah,
the.
yep, I agree. Totally agree. It would have been really nice to like stay on top here, and we didn't really have to drop to commit to the fight. Oh, there was a jump, I think. That's awkward. Nice, good direct. Maybe we can get under the ledge here. They drop. Okay, sure. Nice, good job. That was a really good fight.
Like, I don't know if my booyah are good. I think I placed them wrong, or not at the best moments.
I think it's fine.
Okay.
Like, maybe we didn't need it. Maybe we could have gotten like under this ledge without it. But in the end, it does make this fight like really good for you, because like it forces them to like swim into here. They can't back up right now because the Booyah is behind them, and that basically forces them to be in the range of like your weapon. So like you get the skill from it. You don't really profit from like the survivability aspect of Booyah, right? Because you weren't really in a situation where you like could have died. It's like you took the time to heal there, which is like really good. And at this point, like you're relatively safe from this slosher. So like we didn't really need that part of it. But then again, like we get a pick from it, and that's good. That's pretty much enough. And I don't think there's too much we can criticize about, especially where you get a pick from it.
Okay.
Nice. It's a bit unfortunate that they stayed alive, that they were like 1 HP. But we still got the trade. So that's good. Was really close to actually like being a lot more than that as well. So I like that we took the aggressive option here and like went onto the plat and tried to do something. Like get this pick right here. And then we only get a trade, but like that still helps us a lot. Okay. Ah, that's unfortunate. Yeah, that's just a thing of like we have to respect the rain and the wave breaker a bit more. Not a huge thing. Okay. We're still marked, so they're gonna know we take this. Yeah, that's a bit rough. To be fair, okay, that works, yeah. We made them really, really scared of this drop, which is like nice. Because now that they're so scared of this drop, they'll always look at it. And that makes like this option and like even this kind of drop a lot safer. If like one person on the enemy team is always watching the kind of like off angle flank.
Okay.
So this okay, let's go back a bit, because up until that I think it was executed well. So like this I like this drop. Because it's a drop where like you have a good amount of paint here. Like not too much, but then again, like we're in a retake scenario, we can't really expect us to have too much paint. We just kind of have to expect that to come over time. So like that's a decent amount of paint for a retake situation. And like a lot of enemies aren't looking, so it's safe enough. We kind of, yeah, we overextend a bit here. I think it would have been nice to play with the screen, to just kind of use it as a smoke field for you.
Mm.
But that's just kind of a smaller thing. Okay, okay. Let's take a look at this again, just from the top-down perspective, and think about like why this is like didn't work out. Do you have like thoughts on that? Can go back a bit more, I guess. It's fine if no. Yeah. So basically what happens here, I don't think we saw this decapitator, is that we end up in a situation where like we have people behind our back.
I didn't see
And
the edit too, I think.
yeah. And that makes sense because like there's 10 ticks left. We just kind of have to hope that something happens right now and just kind of have to walk forward. But still like just from like a fight taking perspective, we want to make sure that like we have no one in our back, that we always kind of have the camera in a direction where the enemy is, and then hopefully also in a direction where like the objective is, or like the enemy spawn or whatever. In the sense that like we want to look in this direction and also have all the enemies be in front of us. Or like in this direction, or like if we're in plat, then we want to look right here and make sure that everyone on the enemy is kind of like somewhat in front of us, so we have like some sort of like visual awareness of where they are. And we really want to make sure that no one is behind us. Because those situations are really bad. Just because like if you're fighting, then you can't see who's behind you and you can't shoot at who's behind you. And if you're just like trying to push, then it's pretty much like the same thing there, that you can't really see them. So like again, in situations like this, it's difficult. You like the game is always over. You're just kind of scrambling to get something done. But it's still like something where we have to watch out for that. Yeah. Okay. Do we have other thoughts on this game? I think it brings up a similar thing for staggering. Where like in some situations there was like again a situation where like we on our team just kind of died in a like all behind each other, and because of that we always had kind of bad fights because it was constantly like someone was dead. It wasn't as bad in this game. Like that kind of like stagger loop was something we saw really, really clearly in the last game. In this game, it's not as clear. I think it's just more of the difficulty of like retaking on this map in general, because retake on this map isn't the easiest thing. Yeah. Okay. Let me know if you have any questions, by the way, like at any point.
Okay.
Okay. I think that's the main thing.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Is it okay if I just put my booyah just for me, not for my team, just individual booyah?
Yes.
While pinging survive, or just get a pick, or should I wait my mate to open space for them?
Well, you can use it for both, but both use cases are fine. And both use cases work in their own situations. Usually, Booyah is mostly used as like survivability, is like you are in a weird situation, like somewhere like here, for example, where like you get this pick maybe, and then you just, or like not, and then you just pop Booyah to stay alive. Because like in most situations, it's a really good tool to just stay alive. It's unfortunate that the decaf and the like added two weapons who are really good at shredding you are like around, but usually like a Booyah like this would just mean that you survive for the next like 10 seconds at least.
Okay.
And that is a really strong part about Booyah. And that's something where like that's really good to use it for that, just to as continuation basically. You get a pick or like you get in a good position and you just pop it to stay there for a bit longer and to like stay alive, then use your Booyah to like maybe even like stay in the position and be annoying for even longer. Maybe get a pick from it as well. And that's kind of what I'd say I'd mostly use it for. Just like relatively selfishly to stay alive, to use the like bomb itself to like help in the fight that you're taking right now, to like move an enemy, like we saw with like, maybe we can find it, like we saw with the, maybe this one, fighting against the jet, yeah, fighting right here, where you kind of used it to force the enemy towards you and then like pick them because of that. That's a really good use case.
Okay.
And I think that's like the main use case of Booyah. You can also use it for your team in some situations, especially in like retake. I think we maybe see your teammate use Booyah as a retake at the end right here. Doesn't quite work out, but the idea was there. So like the Forge Pro, I think that's them. They just kind of wait around here. Then they use Booyah right here to kind of try to get your team in. It's not okay. It's a bit of in a weird position, and they get one hit by the decaf. That's very silly. But they just kind of try to use it to force an opening for your team, to like use the big smoke screen that it is to like allow your team to drop. I think it was also like maybe the idea that they had here was to paint the back of the zone, which is a bit awkward because Booyah isn't the greatest at painting. Like I would have probably thrown it like around here, just as a retake tool, just to allow your team to like drop right here or like drop on the far left while the Booyah is going on. And just the big smoke screen that Booyah is and the big explosion makes that very safe. So that's the kind of other use case you can have for it. And especially in like retake situations, that can be really nice. It just kind of like, it depends on what you need or like your team needs in that situation. So like, usually I just use it to like force yourself into a weird position and then use it to stay alive for a bit longer. But you can also use it like somewhat like they do here. They don't execute it perfectly, but I think the idea here was just use the Booyah as a retake tool, as a resource we can use to make like our lives easier when trying to get the zone back or like trying to take a fight as a team. Yeah. Does that answer that?
Yes, thanks.
Okay. Okay. I think I will quickly take a look at this, or at least the start of this, because I looked at part of this earlier, and there was something that I wanted to bring up from here.
Okay.
So we'll take a look. We can, if you want, we can look at the Clan Blitz game after that as well.
Well, yes, we can if you want. If you have time.
Yeah, we have like, I'd say half an hour more. Depends on how much more you can take in in terms of like input. That's basically up to you. Okay.
I can take it.
Yeah, what I wanted to bring up basically is camera control. And that's like a part of like positioning that's usually not talked about, because like defining it as a part of positioning is also a bit awkward. It's more so awareness, but like it is positioning in that you position your camera, right? You position your camera to like look this way in this situation, or like look in a different way in another situation. And I brought up camera control a bit earlier when I talked about like we want to make sure that the enemies are always in front of us and that we always like kind of have the camera turned in that direction. And that's basically what's really important here is that from the camera control that we have, that we like are able to look at where the enemies are exactly. Because camera control impacts a lot of how much you can see. So right here, for example, it's understandable because like the flank is all the way in our base, but we don't see this and we aren't like aware of the flank at all, and then we get punished for it. Or I guess we actually stay alive for a bit longer. But the idea basically is to make sure that we're always in a situation where we basically can look at all the enemies at the same time, or like all relevant enemies at least. And that has a few effects. One of which is that like if we are in a position where we can see all enemies, that means that like because our camera like maybe we can see like that much, maybe a bit more, like maybe like that much of the screen with like one camera. That means if like all relevant enemies are within that camera, that means that like they don't have that many different angles to fight at us from. They can't just suddenly like be behind us and like flank us and like take a really, really weird position and force us into a fight where like there's someone like behind us and someone in front of us, which is like basically impossible to win.
Okay.
And yeah. So just kind of if you try to look at like where the enemies are and how our camera is positioned to look at all those enemies, that makes positioning a bit nicer because it kind of forces you to be in those positions where you can't easily get flanked. So that's something that like a backline, like is a really good training exercise for a backline, for example, is just to kind of have all enemies within their like camera field of view. Like they might be behind cover or something, but they'll definitely be within their like field of view technically. For frontline, it's a bit weirder because you sometimes want to be in positions where like it's a bit more risky and where like maybe people could be behind you. Like if this is not a correct position, but like if you were to flank over here right now, then that would be a position where like maybe enemies could be behind you and maybe you don't see some enemies, but it's worth it because like you get into a really nice position for like your weapon or whatever. But it's still something like to think of. Was it that situation? Maybe it was another situation. I thought of it. But yeah, that's a really interesting thing to think of when playing. To just think of like where are the enemies and can I see all of them right now? Yeah, I think that was the main thing I wanted to take away from this game. Okay, actually, we can go back and look at a few like more examples of what we talked about earlier in terms of like positioning to take good fights, right? So like right here, this is a really awkward fight, right?
Yes.
And I think you'd agree that like the reason why this is an awkward fight is like we kind of put ourselves in a weird position in that like we don't have a lot of paint here, and then we squid roll like into a toxic mist and into an ink rain and into enemy ink. And that's kind of what makes this, like, from a positioning standpoint, like a bad play, quote unquote. That like we try to take a position where we don't have any control of it, where like we don't have paint and we don't have any like kind of follow-up, I guess. Let's go through the rest of this just really quickly. Unfortunate bomb. That happens. There's someone on the left of us, no? Yeah. Okay. I like the kind of sharking approach here. Because like we didn't really know where the enemy is, right?
I didn't want to push too hard if I didn't know where the one is.
That's really good. Really good, yeah. Kind of noticed them right here, and then we kind of didn't know anymore. We can probably know that there's still... Wait, let's take a look at the map. They actually did back up, okay. Yeah. But like, yeah. Good job, like, staying stealthy right there. Just kind of waiting for the enemy to make a move. I think we shred the booyah as well, right? Nice, good job. Good job. Scary? Okay, that works out though. Nice. And that's another booyah where, like, I guess we'll maybe get shredded in time, but like the idea of just using it to survive is really good. And we do go down because there were like 3 people watching, and I guess they are in VC because I think they all have the same name, like the same tag. But like the idea of using booyah in that way, I think it was really good. Sure, nice, okay. We can move forward. Unfortunate.
I always die by a splat bomb. I don't know why.
Yeah. It's probably like a like awareness thing. So what's the thing about splat bomb is that like it explodes really fast, so you have to react to it really fast. So it's kind of like a reaction time check, I guess. Or like an awareness check of how fast can you see the bomb and how fast can your brain respond to that.
I dropped it. It was hard to react.
Yeah, and in that situation it was just like under a ledge. So I don't think you saw it. I didn't see it either. Like looking at the replay. So that's just difficult to see. Yeah. And like those are the splat bombs that do just happen. But like if it's like a reoccurring thing that we die to splat bombs a lot, it's probably a case of like we just have to train ourselves to recognize like bombs a bit earlier, to like train ourselves to hear the like noise that a bomb is being thrown, to recognize early, oh, it's gonna explode here, and then to like substrafe away. Do you know what substrafing is?
Yes.
Okay.
I know what it is, but I can't do it in game. I don't know why. So I'm not going to figure it. Sometimes I do it, but I can't. It's not in my memory. My muscular memory.
Okay. I can show you an exercise real quick. That's really nice to kind of put it into your active memory. Actually, I can stay on this. Because like the mechanic of executing it is not that difficult, right? And it's something that like if you just do it in the training room for 5 minutes, you figure out how to do relatively well. The kind of difficult part is just applying it in game, because in game you have a lot more things to worry about than just like in the training room. You can't just say like, oh, I'm substrafing now, because in the training room you can just do that consciously, but in the game you have to do it subconsciously. You kind of like in the game you just have to see there's a splat bomb. Oop, I'm away. It's not really a conscious decision basically to substrafe, and because of that, you kind of have to do a bit of training, so that substrafing kind of becomes into your like subconscious memory, like your muscle memory basically on how to do it and like when to do it. There's a couple of things that, like, just on the mechanics part I really like to do. So, like, moving around the ledges in this lobby, for example, to train to, like, do it in a clean way. Or, like, when doing, like, ledge canceling, like, going up this block, it's really funny to, like, to train ledge canceling to be as effective as possible.
Well, I know to do this.
Sorry?
I know to ledge cancel.
Yes.
I know it.
Huge.
It's useful.
Yeah, it's really, it makes it so much faster. But yeah, what basically the most important thing is just to practice substrafing in game. And the idea is basically to try to practice it as as much as you possibly can. To, like, for a few games, like 5 games, maybe more, you can kind of see how long it takes for you. Just, like, only think about substrafing for that match. Like, you kind of try to play the game without trying to improve anything apart from substrafing. Just try to improve, like, I will substrafe away from bombs, I will substrafe around the kind of walls, I will just always substrafe. I will never squid roll. Unless I want to parry, I guess.
I don't really know what's the point of substrafing. You go fast, you go fast.
Yes. So the main point is just to turn around, like, quickly, because normally, and I'm pretty sure, like, you'd know this, like, normally, like,
Yes,
it takes just so long to turn around, right? And, like, substrafing makes this a lot faster. So, like, specifically for something like a splat bomb, it's, like, a lot easier to like, kind of escape the splat bomb if you... Oh, I ran into it. If you substrafe away from it. Because, like, that's, like, a splat bomb is, for example, something where, like, you have to get away from it very fast. Okay. And, like, because of that, like, if you're moving into this direction while the bomb is thrown, it's really important to, like, substrafe out of it so that you like, get away from the bomb in time. And those kind of, like, small seconds, those kind of, like, milliseconds matter a lot in this game. So, like, explosions are something where you really notice it, but it also matters with, like, fighting against other weapons like shooters or, like, pretty much anything. The faster you're away from a source of danger, the, like, safer it is. And, like, pretty much every millisecond counts for that. And that's why it's, like, really important. So generally, like, substrafing is just for those kind of situations where, like, you just want to get away from something that you're like, I'm moving into this direction right now, I'm not anymore. Like, you can... It's something like where you, in some situations, like, might squid roll instead, because that's, like, the more intuitive, like, buttons, basically. It's a bit easier to execute than substrafing. And that's fine. Squid rolling is fine. It does have some downsides. In that, like, you're in the air, you have a bit less control in the air over, like, ink. Because, like, in the ink you can constantly, like, change directions. With, like, substrafing, or, like, just generally, you're a lot faster. You're a lot easier to attack if you're in the air. Even if you have a few, like, parry frames, it's still a lot easier to punish you for stuff like that. And, like, especially, like, for like, kind of a second explosion or something, what happens a lot is that people, like, squid roll into an explosion like this. Just because, like, you don't really have the movement if you're in the air to change direction. And that's why, like, substrafing in most situations is a bit better than squid rolling. But mostly it's just, like, in the situations that a lot of people already squid roll in, it's just better to use substrafing.
Okay.
But yeah, for, like, training it, just try to use it as much as possible. Just, like, any kind of situation where, like, you want to get away from a bomb, any kind of situation where you want to turn a corner or something, just try to use it. And because you use it so much, and to some degree, like, a bit too much, it makes it, like, hardcore, like, burns it into your memory and burns it into your subconscious memory. so that like in future games it's a lot easier to execute this without having to think about it. And then like stuff like substrafing away from bombs will kind of become like second nature. That's really what you want it to become. So that's kind of the idea behind those kind of things. Yeah. That kind of idea of like very intentional practice, very deliberately practicing one thing in specific, is really effective in general. So that can help with like the kind of positioning things we talked about as well. Yeah, we can quickly take a look at this. If you have any questions, by the way, let me know.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. We'll do one short thing. In terms of positioning, where do you think that like your weapon is strong on this map?
What did you say? Sorry.
Where do you think like S-Blast is strong in terms of like positioning on this map?
Left and right. The down.
You mean like around here?
No,
Around
no,
here?
down and up. I mean, but left and right when you spawn.
Like this,
Yes,
those kind
this
of
part.
parts? Sure. Okay. Yeah, pretty much.
It's what I like to stay with
Mm-hmm.
the how do you call that in English? With the fan.
The fence, yeah. Yeah, I agree. What's also really strong is just like under any kind of ledge.
Mm.
Those like if those fans are up, then it's a bit difficult to actually hit things because they're just so high up that your weapon doesn't really hit things anymore. But like under any kind of these lower ledges, like on this ledge in specific, it's really strong. Like maybe under this ledge, or like on defense as well, like over these ledges, or like under this ledge if the fan is on the top. All of this is really strong. Just like any kind of ledges are really nice for your weapon because it's a position where the enemy can't hit you, but you can hit them because like you have this big AoE hitbox that they don't have.
Mm.
And then yeah, I agree with the rest of the positions as well. This kind of mid position is really funny as well because you can hit around like those kind of blocks where people like to hide behind. So just like basically any kind of position where you can use the AoE to hit people who think they're safe. Yeah. And then like all of these weapons are like weapons that like are nice for you to fight basically. In that you can hit all of them like relatively safely. You outrange all of them with your long range mode. And even if some of those like can dodge roll around or stuff, you can hit them in your short range mode. Okay. This is another case of just like people ganging up around you, or like the position being too aggressive to the point that people can just like gang up around you and shoot at you from different angles. So that's what we want to avoid, in that we want to be in positions where we can be sure that there aren't enemies like behind us or like on the side of us. And yeah, like for example, we could think about using the like idea of camera control again, where we want to make sure that everyone who we care about is in the view of our camera. Because like that would ensure that like we wouldn't push up here, because if we did this kind of practice where we thought about who can we see right now, then like we think we have to stay back here, or like we have to take an angle like around here, because if we push up, then we can't see this player anymore, or like we can't see this player anymore if we look at the T-tag.
Mm.
And like I think that's another thing where we can practice it that way. We can use that idea to kind of get a bit better at avoiding these kind of like positions where we just run in and get punished for that. Keep in mind that don't follow that like religiously. In practice, you can. If you want to practice this, you can say like, I will always make sure that I can see everyone who I care about, like every enemy who I care about. Just like in actual games, where you don't use this practice anymore, there are some situations where you want to disregard it specifically, or you specifically want to say, I don't care, I'm going to move forward anyway because I believe it's the correct thing to do. But like for the purpose of like practices like this, I think it can be really good to just follow it religiously to see like what that does to your gameplay and like to some degree also see the situations where you should have done it anyway. Yeah. Wait, wrong player. There's 2 coolers. Okay.
Right. I asked a question to myself. Can we stack coolers?
No.
Can we stack the effect? No. Okay.
So the effect only applies once.
Okay, good.
It's a bit unfortunate. What you can do, like, if the coolers aren't this close to each other. Oh, I went way too far. What you can do is like grab one, then go die, and then grab the other one, and that totally works. But if you like grab both of them right here, that doesn't make any difference over just grabbing one.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, nice. Good job staying alive there. Nice. Good direct. It was a bit scary, because like we could have died there because we went really close to the enemy. But good job, like just hitting the direct. Nice. Good job. They are jumping a lot. Nice. Good indirects. Good job. Nice. You're doing really good work. Oh, out of ink. That's unfortunate. Ooh. We actually stay alive for quite long there.
I think I should have been. I think I should have been able to kill the Kelvin.
Yeah, maybe. It's a bit like, yeah. Was a difficult situation. Like you tried to do the best you could there. Nice, nice, and you stay alive as well. That's really good. Okay. Again, a situation where it'd be good to just go back and get the cooler real quick. Cooler gives you like a lot of really valuable buffs. Wait. Yeah, we don't get it. Because like the respawn time is really good, the like movement is really good. The buffs are just really strong. So it's worth getting usually. We fight this, right? Nice, good job. They were focused on something else entirely, so like fighting this is really good. Unfortunate. I think that's another thing of just like camera control, where we didn't see the enemy early enough to like react to it. Nice, good job. Good job, nice. Yeah, I think we can move like forward a bit faster here, because we know that like the only one that's alive on their side is the brush, right? Or at least like before it was. Where like we can see that they're the only one alive by just like looking at the top of our screen. Like the brush is the only one alive, and we know exactly where they are because of the power climb. So we can, like, kind of run in a lot faster because of that. Yeah. This works as well, though. Can fight this with our team. That works. Okay. Ooh, that was close. Nice, good job. Really good job on the defense here to like punish everyone who was like trying to score clams. Nice. Okay. We almost got the booyah off there. That would have been really clean. Nice. I like how you're fighting with your team, like, in most of these. That's a bit unfortunate, but, like, in, like, most of these fights, you're, like, fighting with some sort of teammate. And that's really strong. Nice booyah. And do we win this in overtime? We are really close too. Nice, good job. Okay. Do you have like any questions from anything from here?
I don't think so.
Okay. Then I think it's time. It's time for a recap.
Okay.
Okay. So like in what we talked about in terms of positioning in the first game is a lot of like taking advantageous fights for your weapon, trying to be in a position that makes your life as easy as possible to like win the next fight or like win the game, I guess. So in terms of winning a fight, what's really nice is like effective weapon range. So for S+, that's like either the kind of long range grounded shot, where like the range where that explodes, or the kind of range where the short range shot explodes. If you play like any other weapons, then that might be a bit different, but I think you get the idea. Just trying to position like as far away, I guess, as possible from the enemy, where your weapon is still good. And for S-Blast, it's just kind of pretty much everywhere where your weapon can do a lot of damage to enemies. Yeah. So that's the first thing. That also includes like stuff like cover. So specifically, I hope this is readable. Specifically, like being under ledges. I write that down specifically because ledges are really strong. Any kind of position where you can hit the enemy, but the enemy can't hit you back, or at least you can hit the enemy easier than they can hit you. So, for example, ledges are really strong because like you're really safe under a ledge, or like you're even relatively safe above a ledge if you're not fighting a blaster.
Yeah.
And those are kind of the parts of the map that your weapon is really strong at, because it kind of abuses the AoE of the shot, where you can hit enemies but they can't hit you back. Then we'll bring up paint as well. Paint is very similar to cover in that, like at least when you use it to shark, it's actually like really similar to cover. Because it kind of like it hides your position from the enemy, and you can use it to make your fights a lot safer. You can move around a lot more in between fights. You don't have to worry about like painting your feet, and the enemy will have to worry about painting their feet, which is why paint is really strong. So what's nice for positioning is just like kind of positioning in areas where you have a lot of paint. And sometimes that's just like, that doesn't give you a lot of options. and so you kind of have to force yourself into an area and just hope that that paint ends up being there. But sometimes you also are in situations where like you still have a lot of leftover paint from like the last time you were in a certain area and the enemy didn't paint over that, and then you can still use that to get into an aggressive position quicker and more safely because you have paint there. Effective range, paint, cover ledges. Do we have else? We talked about high ground as well. High ground slash like the middle of the map is always really strong because no, or like mid, because it gives you a lot of options to take like different fights or stay safe, like back up into different areas. Just 1 second. This is difficult to read. This is meant to say high ground. So from these, like I'd say that like the first 2 points are really like a lot more important. And I think the most important ones to work on. To try to like play in ranges where your weapon is really good, where you have like the easiest fights that you can possibly have. And also then like play around like paint, so the fights are that much easier. Actually, I'll add one more point at the top that's really important here, which is playing with your team or like just 2v1s in general.
But with random, it's hard to do. It's
Yes,
easier with two.
yes. It is very difficult to do it with randoms. That is true.
In my team, I have a gal. Together, we do combo
Yeah,
and take 2v1s.
yeah, that's really
It's
good.
yes.
That's really good. Keep that up because that's basically, like in my opinion at least, one of the most important parts about competitive Splatoon is just taking better fights, taking better 2v1s than the enemy team does. So yeah, keep that up definitely. Okay. So those are the kind of positioning things. I'll add kind of like staggering over here, I guess. In that it also is kind of relevant to positioning, because again, staggering is something where like everyone kind of goes down behind each, like gets splatted after each other, not at the same time. So we are almost like always in kind of disadvantageous situations where we always at least one player down. And if we then go in and take fights, that makes those fights very unsafe and leads to us losing more fights and kind of gets that like vicious circle running. And it's difficult to get out of. And the way we get out of bad situations or like staggering is just to position more safely. To take like high grounds, to take positions where we can't get shot. To just make sure that we stay alive for a while, so that when our team is back, we can take good fights with our teammates, that we can take 2v1s, that we can play around the paint that we have, that we can play around specials that we have. So that's the kind of like sub point over here.
Okay, and I have maybe the last question.
Yep.
It's about a game I did.
Mhm.
So, wait, I can stream. Oop.
Okay.
So, I did a wipeout, and after I didn't know what to do.
Just like in this situation right here.
After this, I did a
After this.
wipeout. The basket closed, and I didn't know what to do. So I stayed. I died.
Okay.
Was if I go mid, I take the plate. No.
I think the best idea is to kind of stay in that area,
Yes.
and continue fighting. It's unfortunate that we didn't keep up the basket, but even without, I think the best idea is just to kind of continue to try to hold space here. Because yeah, what you do right here is really good. Like get that pick, use Booyah to stay alive, and stay in that situation even longer. And even if the execution isn't perfect, like you stay in there for a really long time, so that like your team realistically could follow up on that. And like play off your like distraction there, get the space back. I'm not sure if they do, but like you set up your team with a really good play there by just
Yeah, but
staying up,
after,
I think.
after they took back they have the lead and took back the game.
Yeah. Hmm.
We didn't win that one.
Yeah, but like almost. You got another score.
Yeah.
And that's already something that's really strong. So I think like if we go back to like kind of thinking about positioning, we could have like stayed under ledges or something like that, to make everything a bit safer that we did there. A lot of times when people respawn back in, they won't expect someone to be under a ledge and just like camp them there. And that's something that you can like catch a lot of people off guard with.
Okay.
But the general idea of just staying there and fighting is, I think, the correct one, especially because you have Booyah, right? Because with Booyah, you can use it to stay alive for even longer. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. And then like, I guess to give you a few pointers on how you can improve all of this. It's basically up to you. But what I really like for like improving things like this is to think about like something very specific I want to improve. For example, playing in the effective range of my weapon. Playing in like ranges where either the long range mode hits or like the short range mode hits. And then just doing that for like a few games, for like maybe 1 or 2 hours, and just only working on that.
And bonus strafe.
Sorry?
And sub strafe, maybe.
Yes. I'd encourage you to separate those two practices. To do one practice where you just do substrafing and one practice where you just do like that kind of effective range practice. It might seem a bit weird to like separate that because like it's longer, it's a bit annoying to do it in different practices, but in the end it's usually more effective, at least for me. Um, it's more effective to actually do it in different practices because it makes it a lot more like focused on that specific task and on improving that specific task.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, I think I think that's the most important things. Do you have like any questions about like
Mm,
either the topics or like the improvement practices, like stuff like that?
I don't think about the calls, but I don't know if you can help me with that. I don't know when to call, what to call when. Do I need to call
Mm,
everything I saw, everything I see?
um, no, that is a really long, like
Let's
really
see.
difficult question. I can, I think it kind of goes outside of the scope of right now. I can send you a few videos for that though.
Okay.
Um, I'll look at finding a few like YouTube resources for that. I'll send those in like 30 minutes or something,
Okay.
something around that. Okay. Um, if you if you don't have any other questions, then that would be it for today.
Okay.
Um, thanks a lot for being
Oh,
around. I
thank
I
you.
hope it was helpful.
Yeah, really. Thank you.
Um, I'll yeah, the VOD is always up. You can just go back and look at it. Again, if you have any questions. And yeah, I'll send you like a feedback form in like I guess with the other videos that I sent you as well about calls. You don't have to fill it out, but it helps me a lot, like get better at coding.
Okay.
Okay. Um, then yeah, thanks a lot.
You know, thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay. Have a nice
Bye.
evening.
It's I need to go eat.
Yeah.
It's 9 p.m.
Mhm.
I'm hungry.
Yeah. Okay, bye
Uh,
bye.
bye.
Okay. Um, yeah, that's. I'll end the stream in a second as well. Um, if you, I will plug it real quick. Um, if you want to get coaching like this, to be a part of this, there's a link in the description that you can fill out. I'm not sure if it's there on Twitch. I hope it is. It's definitely there on YouTube. So yeah, feel free to fill that out if you want coaching as well. Also hello Aurora. I wasn't able to respond to your message in chat during the session, but yeah, hello there. I'm just like during the coaching sessions, I like to focus on that and not respond to chat too much. Also, I never updated the stream title. That's fun. I'll update it now because I'm such a good streamer. Okay, let's see. Actually, I won't forget it this time. I will raid someone this time because I'm a good Twitch streamer and I will never forget about raiding. Who do we raid? 1 second. Hmm. Hmm. Let me get Twitch open. The DSP is streaming right now. Yeah, let's see if I... Yeah, with 5 viewers, yeah. Ooh. Wait, let me see if I can find the DSP link because I don't think I'm following them. 1 second. I am very prepared, as you can see. Um, um, ooh. Good luck to your friend. Wait, can I find it? Does anyone know the tag of DSP? um, Oh, I found it. I found it. Oh my goodness. Um, okay. And now we go back to this. Um, okay. We shall rate with the 4 viewers that we still have. We shall rate the Deutsche Splatoon Bundesliga. Have fun, everyone. Thanks for tuning in today, and good evening. Bye bye.